Doug McIntyre. Go ahead, Doug.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Sophia, for doing this. You're going into your first World Cup, so I wanted to ask you, what are your earliest memories of watching the national team at a World Cup? And were there any players or which ones sort of did you identify with, inspired you, motivated you? That's it. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, whenever the World Cup was on, that was one of my favorite times of the year, getting to watch those games and just always have, something to watch on TV. So it's exciting to think that maybe I could be one of those players on TV playing in a World Cup. Um, Honestly, a lot of the players I'm playing with today are players that I looked up to and watched in World Cups, which is crazy to say, but I think about Megan Rapinoe, Alex Morgan, I mean, Abby Wambach, Mia Hamm, all the players I look up to, I think.
Even Mallory Pugh.
Even Mal Pugh, yeah. Honestly, most of my teammates right now.
You good?
Yes, Aaron. Thanks.
Okay. Andrew Jones, go ahead, man.
Thank you as always, Aaron. So, congratulations on the hat trick.
Thank you.
Definitely. Wanted to ask you first of the enjoyment that you had doing the Bud Light parody commercials over the course of the Super Bowl season.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, and definitely must watch. And your thoughts on Juliet coming right back to the national team and the joy that you've all given her on her return. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, not much to say about the Bud Light remixes. You do what you got to do. It was fun to try and attempt those. I think they think I'm like a better director than I am, but I tried my best, and that was that. And in terms of Julie being back in camp, obviously, I have nothing bad to say about Julie. I think she has shown the world just how special she is, and I think having her back in camp is great for all of us. I think it's exciting. Obviously, she's a talented player. She's been at the highest stage. She's won everything you could win. So it's always a good thing to have someone with so much experience back in camp. And I think it's great that she took the time she needed to be a mom and figure out what it was that she wanted. And, to have her back in camp it's really exciting.
Mike Wotella. Go ahead, Mike.
Hi, thanks. Can you, if you look back on your youth career and at Real Colorado, Mallory Pugh played there, Raleigh Swanson also played there. Can you pinpoint anything in your youth experience at that club and that you think helped you become the kind of goal scorer you are?
I would say a lot of it is the coaching. Mal and I both had the same coach at Real Colorado, Lauren Donaldson. And I think he saw so much potential in the both of us, and he brought that out of us in ways that I don't think a lot of coaches could have. So I speak for myself, but I think Mal would say the same thing, is he helped get us to this point. He helped develop us. He focused a lot about, the technical side of the game. He knew from the first time he saw me play that I was a natural goal scorer. I was a striker, and I'm someone that always is looking to score goals, so he helped me in any way he could learn how to do that better and more efficiently and in different scenarios. So I think for me a lot of it was about him and how he kind of coached me and developed me, but also let me kind of be myself at the same time.
And you repaid him with a golazo against Jamaica in Mexico, so good job. Sorry, Mike, do you have another one?
No, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Who's next? Jonathan Tannenwald. Go ahead, JT.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Sophia. As always, the time, Jonathan Tannenwald of the Philadelphia Inquirer here. You haven't missed a beat since last season with the Thorns, it looks like. I wonder, given the injury layoff and all that, to what do you attribute being able to come flying out of the gates like this again? Thanks.
Yeah, it was definitely, as it always is, hard to miss a camp due to injury, due to anything. It's really tough. It's hard mentally because that's all you want to do is be healthy and be in camp. But I think during that time I learned a lot about myself. I learned how to be patient. I put things in perspective and realized how big a year this was. So it was important for me to take the time I needed to get healthy and to address all the things that I didn't have time to address last year and get that all right before I started again, because I knew once I started again, we won't stop for a very long time. So it was important for me to get that right. I obviously paid a lot of attention to how I was training when I wasn't in camp, so that when I got back to camp, it feels natural, it feels smooth. And then with the Thorns, I mean, I just feel like I haven't let my confidence drop, even, being injured and being out. So I think that's a big thing. And just training with the team and having preseason games to build, I think allowed me to come out in the first game of the season feeling pretty good about where I was.
Let's go to Tamara Griffin. Go ahead.
Hi, Sophia. All the kids these days are talking about eras, and I think especially with female athletes, the need to sort of enter this villain era. And when I think about your NWSL championship, when I think about the way that you've begun this NWSL season, I'm curious how you're sort of thinking about this era that you're stepping into. What kind of message are you trying to show people with your game, and sort of how are you embracing this era that you're in?
Yeah, I don't know if I would refer to it as a villain era. I'm like a very sweet, happy person. I think on the field, I don't play games. I don't step on a field to do anything but win. And I take a lot of pride in that. So I guess this era is just winning and doing everything I can to do that and to help my team. And I think there's nothing wrong with a little bit of banter between teams and a little bit of talk here and there. It's never disrespectful, but it can add a little bit of fun and entertainment to the game. And I love to put on a show. I love to try crazy things when I'm playing. I feel confident enough to do those things. So I would say this is just me feeling confident and comfortable and kind of finding my place within my team on the Thorns and my place within this national team.
I'm all in. I'm all in for the Sophia Smith era. Let's go back to Michelle. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Sophia. Hope you're doing well. You just mentioned on the work that you have done mentally. Given your stellar beginning of the season with 4 goals in 2 games, this is the last camp before the World Cup. How do you manage those expectations? What are you doing mentally to prepare for this, the biggest challenge in your career? That's going to be your first World Cup. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a challenge, and it's something that I've had to learn and get better at, especially since becoming a professional. It's an important balance to have because, you can't be at this level without caring so much about what you're doing, about the game, about how you're playing, but at the same time, you're still a human. You still have a lot of feelings, things stress you out, get you down. So I think for me, it's been finding that balance between giving everything I have to this sport, but not letting it define who I am on and off the field. I give everything I have as soon as I go to practice, as soon as I step between the lines for a game, and if I'm doing extra work. But as soon as I'm done, I try to switch it off and kind of check out for a little bit because your brain needs a break too and it needs rest. So finding that balance, I think, has been really important for me so that I'm able to sustain, the level that it takes to play with this team and to play in the NWSL for the whole season.
Thanks, Soph. Let's go to Henry Bushnell.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, Sophia. I appreciate you doing this. You mentioned, I think it was 3 questions ago now, learning to be patient during your rehab. How do you learn to be patient? Is that something that's exactly?
It takes patience. I think when you're injured, you honestly have no choice. You can't rush the process of rehab. I mean, you can, but it's not going to end well. I have learned that, being a little too anxious and wanting to get back out on the field probably before I'm ready. So I think going through my share of injuries beforehand has taught me that. And I think when you're a professional, you realize how long a NWSL season is, how many games you're going to play. And especially in a World Cup year, you put things in perspective, like I said, and you know that come this summer, that's when you need to peak. That's when you need to be healthy. That's when you need to be as fit as you possibly can be. So earlier in the year, that's when you can afford to take the time to make sure your body's in the position to carry you into that and to sustain that. So I think it's about putting things in perspective and knowing your body and your limits and what you need at that time.
Got it. Thank you.
Well said. Last two for Soph. Let's go to Steph Young. Go ahead.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, so I know it's literally been like a hot second in camp with Juliet, but I'm just wondering if there's anything you're seeing from her, you know, her positioning, her tendency on the ball, her distribution, or how she scans, that you're like, okay, I know this is something I can work with. It's going to release me into this space or whatever, you know, however you're seeing it.
Yeah, we've only had 2 training sessions, but from what I see, she looks like she has a renewed sense of energy. She brings a positive energy and a lot of encouragement, which is great in this environment, especially for us younger players to hear coming from a veteran, a player who's done it all. So the energy she's been bringing is great, and technically she looks like she hasn't missed a beat. And I'm excited to continue, you know, to see in trainings her kind of change the dynamic for us and just add what she, you know, is so good at. And yeah, I mean, it's exciting. We still have a bit of camp to go to kind of see that, but from what we've seen so far, it's good to have her back.
Thank you.
Last one goes to Jeff Kassouf. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Sophia. Thanks for taking the time. You just sort of talked about the patience and the process in sort of your own past few months, and there've been, you know, a good number of injuries over the past year or so on this team, and obviously many folks coming back. And I'm just wondering if there's sort of been any, maybe camaraderie is the wrong word, but just collective discussion even among yourselves of, you know, I guess one on a personal level of like, how are you, you know, each of you dealing with those, but also, you know, this being the last camp before the World Cup roster, like, are you sort of collectively talking about how to get on the same page when it's been sort of in and out with so many people?
Yeah, I think to answer the last question, it is hard to miss a camp or to have players miss a camp because in one camp you learn so much, things change, and you're not in that environment to kind of see how the team is growing and changing. So it's hard to miss a camp, but I think when people come back in, everyone is very helpful and welcoming to like catch that player up and make sure they're up to speed with everything that's changed and everything that's going on, so that when you step foot on the field, it doesn't feel like you've missed out and you're behind. You know, it's on the player to meet with the staff, meet with the coaches, watch film, make sure that you're doing everything that you can to put yourself in the best position to not feel like you're behind or you've missed anything. And then with injuries, like you can't control that. Unfortunately, it's a part of the game. So I think just supporting each other if someone has something going on, understanding that this is the beginning of a long season. There's going to be nicks and knocks here and there, and you have to be patient with that. It's not the end of the world. And yeah, you just have to be patient with yourself and with your body.
Excellent. So thanks so much for your
Yeah,
time. Thanks,
thank
everybody.
you.